So let's get into this. Now, the first card we are going to talk about is the founder, foundations and community. So here, this card talks about rebuilding. It talks about putting down the sword and picking up a hammer. So it's about, but it's also bringing in, like, it's talking about foundations and community, because you're building this foundation in order to accommodate and help. So, but what really stands out for me in the imagery is these two rats in the bottom, right? They're mirroring each other, and one is holding the sword, one's the hammer. Now, this feels really significant because despite the negative connotations around rats, they are they are survivors. They are resilient, they adapt, and they make it through anything. So it feels like this is representing the strength you've built from having to fight your way to where you are now, right? You've been holding on to that sword because you've needed to. And now it's the strength that you've had, that you've created. You're just going to be redirecting it. Instead of constantly fighting, you're being asked now to put down the sword and rebuild, to rebuild your foundation in a way that actually supports you, not just keeps you safe. You've had to defend yourself. You've had to stand your ground. You've had to be resilient. And now it's time to take that resilience and create a world of your own. So now we move into the diviner. Now, the diviner with the seed on it here, it speaks a lot to our Astara oracle cards that we were replanting, we're building 222 on the clock when I say that. This allowing things to grow. Um, this is also about divine timing and evaluation. And it feels like confirmation that you've already started this process, right? You've already started to rebuild. You've already been doing the work. You've already planted the seeds. Now it's more about it's not about forcing anything. It's about just allowing things to unfold while making sure that you're in the right position to receive what's coming in. So it's that patience, that allowing for it, and the evaluation here is coming into to monitor, right? If you're thinking of this one, think of like of the Knight of Pentacles, who has to stand guard in front of his field as like the scarecrow. So we're monitoring to make sure that everything is maintained and everything is growing well, that it has everything it needs. So this is a call for you too, to make sure you have everything you need, right? To bring in whatever it is you need to bring in, to have the right, in this case, it's having the right, I don't know, the right amount of sleep, the right amount of, like, fixing up your schedule, supporting whatever you need to do to support the growth that you're building is what the diviner is coming in to say. Having the patience to cultivate around what it is you're working toward without forcing it. You're just preparing for it to be here, acting like it already is. So it's one of those things of asking yourself, if I already had the thing, if I already was in that role, what can I do now that is what I would be doing in that position, as that thing, as that person, as whatever it is, with my dream coming true, with it fulfilled. What is within my realm right now that I'm building, that I can tap into every day, that I'm doing then? And so allowing it, not to force it, but to curate around it, so it allows for it to come through on its own in the right time. Now, we have the Hound in reverse, and this is where it gets a little bit deeper emotionally, because this is speaking directly to broken trust. The Hound is that loyal, it's one of those roles where the Hound gives up its freedom in order to have that security and support, right? It is loyal to knowing where its next meal is going to come, knowing that it will be warm and safe and have a roof over its head. But there is that lack of autonomy. Now, there is also, with the Hound upright, there's a trust. The Hound trusts that it will have what it needs. When that is broken, when that trust is broken, this is where well, the feelings come through, right? You gave loyalty, you gave commitment, you gave your energy, and something about that experience made you pull back. Not necessarily because you don't want connection, but because you don't want to feel trapped or lose yourself in it again. That lack of autonomy, right? That lack of being able to trust that it's reciprocal. The next card that comes in emphasizes that in the Captain. Now, this feels like I said, there's that response to it, because this is saying you're not meant to do this alone. You're meant to have a group of people, not necessarily a group, but you're meant to be surrounded by, or at least able to connect with, like-minded individuals. So it's not about just finding people who are exactly like you, right? It's like-minded. So it's about finding people who align with you. People who bring different strengths, different perspectives, but who you actually want to be around. There's this sense of camaraderie. Like it says in the card, almost like littermates, right? So in the card, this idea of the Captain walking down the street surrounded by his crew, that crew is made up of people who all want adventure, who all want to go to the same destination. Whatever the case, there is something about this group that is coherent, is aligned. But each individual person in that group has a different talent, a different skill, a different ability. And so that's what it's saying. It's who you want to be around. People who bring different strengths and allows you to shine with yours, where there's mutual respect, effort, and a shared direction. This feels like an agreement of, I'll give what I can, you give what you can. And so it's going through this lack of trust, supporting your alignment and surrounding yourself with people who align as well and allow you to shine your strengths, because you're coming in to collaborate with as opposed to stand out. Now, the last card that came through, and what I liked about how they all sat was this was like the pieces that are being put together, and then the weaver comes in to weave it all in one. So here it feels like what everything is basically leading to, taking all of the pieces, the parts that feel broken, unfinished, unclear, right? The foundations, the timing, the lack of trust, the camaraderie, but it's not that we're trying to fix these pieces. Instead, we're trying to weave them together. We're not getting rid of them. There's not a part of you that isn't supposed to be who you are now. You're not broken or afraid or falling behind. This is part of the journey, the side quests to your ultimate result, right? It's like any story or any show you watch. The main protagonists are going there, they have a goal. But in order to reach that goal, there are side quests you have to go through, none of which are wrong, none of which are misleading, none of which are meant to make you fail. They're just part of the divine timing of how things go together. And then with the weaver coming in, you're weaving them into something whole. As you letting them become part of your story, part of your identity, all of those different pieces. And when you weave it all together, the tapestry creates a new image. And so in doing that, you actually create something new. And your end result is fulfilling. It would not have been, you would not get the same picture had you tried differently. The frayed ends allow for slow transitions into different colors, into different patterns. So as far as the end message for this whole reading, this feels like moving from survival into creation, from doing everything alone to building something real with the right people beside you. You're going to be able to curate these things and come together. Now, if you have any other questions, please let me know. Otherwise, have a beautiful, beautiful day, and we will see you in the next one.